Welcome to the deep dive. You know, when you think of Hong Kong, what comes to mind? Probably this dazzling, super fast city, right? A real hub of opportunity, especially for careers. It feels like this place where big city life and ambition just collide. It's a dream for many expats, definitely. But there's always that other reputation it has, isn't there? That it's incredibly expensive. So today, our mission is to really dig into what living in Hong Kong as an expat actually means. We want to get past the shiny skyline and look at the real stuff, the actual costs, what you might earn, and importantly, how you can genuinely make it work there. Can that dream actually be affordable for you? And just a quick heads up, we'll mostly be talking costs in Hong Kong dollars, so HK-do, during our chat today.
Yeah, and that really is the core question, isn't it? Can you actually live comfortably? Maybe even put some money aside? Because the city's appeal is huge, no doubt. But yeah, it constantly pops up on lists as one of the priciest places on earth that casts a bit of a shadow. So what we want to do is kind of peel back those layers, look beyond the headlines, and see what the reality is.
Exactly. And to help us do that, we're drawing on insights from a source that really knows this stuff inside out. moveandstay.com. I mean, these guys have been helping business travelers and expats find places across Asia for short stays, long stays, whatever, for over 25 years.
Yeah, they've got boots on the ground experience, haven't they? Decades of it.
Right. So we're basically tapping into all that practical knowledge they've gathered over the years. Okay, so let's tackle that big reputation head on. Hong Kong is expensive. We hear it all the time. But what does that actually look like on a global scale? Is it just pricey or something else?
Oh, it's really up there, yeah. Consistently. When you look at those global cost of living surveys, Hong Kong is almost always near the very top, competing with places like New York, London, Singapore. The numbers are pretty clear. It's often ranked the second most expensive city in Asia. And it's more expensive than, get this, it's something like 87% of all cities worldwide.
Wow, 87%.
Yes.
That's huge. So it's not just talk, the data really shows it. What's the main thing driving those costs up so much? What makes it uniquely expensive?
Well, the biggest factor is definitely housing. Rent, property prices. It all comes down to land. Hong Kong is geographically small, very densely populated, and there's just not much land available to build on. So you've got this intense scarcity coupled with really high demand from, its global economy, lots of people wanting to live there. It just pushes prices sky high. Every square foot costs a fortune.
Right, that makes total sense. Supply and demand in overdrive. So, okay, let's bring that down to earth. For someone listening, thinking about moving, what does that mean for their monthly budget? What kind of numbers are we talking about?
Okay, so for a single person, just living, reasonably, you're probably looking at around HK $40,000 per month. That's a ballpark figure, of course. It really depends on your lifestyle, where you eat, what you do.
HK $40,000.
Okay.
And for a family, say a family of four.
Ah, yeah, that's a different story. For a family of four, you could easily be looking at nearly HK $60,000 a month, maybe even more. And that's covering the basics: rent, food, getting around, utilities, daily stuff.
40,000 for one, 60,000 plus for four. That's a serious amount before you even think about like hobbies or holidays. It really hammers home why moveandstay.com, our source, really stresses doing your homework right.
Yeah.
Budgeting meticulously.
Absolutely. It's crucial.
That initial sticker shock needs managing.
It really does. This isn't a city where you can just wing it financially, not comfortably anyway. You need to go in prepared, knowing where the money's going. Planning is key.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Accommodation. It always comes up as the monster expense. We hear these almost legendary stories of tiny flats for crazy money. Is that the norm? Or is it sometimes overblown?
It's largely the reality, unfortunately. Finding a place to live will be the biggest slice of your budget, no doubt about it. Rents for furnished places, especially in those areas popular with expats, are frankly very high. And yeah, the trade-off is usually space. You generally get a lot less square footage for your money compared to what you might be used to in, say, the US or Europe.
So give us an idea, like what would a typical studio cost?
Okay, so a furnished studio apartment, maybe in a reasonably convenient spot, you could easily be paying around HK $22,700. Let's say HK $22,750 a month.
But for a studio?
Yeah. And if you need more space, like for a family, even if you look a bit further out, larger place might still be around HK $27,000 a month. And that's before bills. The pleasant surprise isn't usually a bargain price. It's finding a place that's cleverly designed to make the most of a smaller footprint.
Right, no sprawling suburban houses then. High-rise living is the default, driven by that land scarcity? Okay, so it's tough. But are there ways around it? How can someone actually find more affordable options? What are practical tips?
Oh, definitely. There are strategies. MoveInStay.com points out a few good ones. First, you got to look beyond the usual expat hotspots like mid-levels or central. Think about districts like Shamshui-Po, really vibrant local feel, or maybe Sai Kung, which is more coastal, laid back. Rents there can be significantly lower. You might get a bit more space, and honestly, a more authentic Hong Kong experience too.
Okay, so location, 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 but maybe not the obvious location. What else?
Second, you just have to adjust your expectations on size. Being willing to live in a smaller apartment is a big one. It directly cuts your rent. Also, sharing accommodation is quite common. Lots of expats share flats to split the costs, sometimes with locals too. And, crucially, start looking early, way before you actually move. The rental market is fast-paced. Use good online portals, and maybe get a reputable real estate agent who knows the expat market. They can be worth their fee.
Good advice. Be proactive. Be flexible on location and size. Makes sense. All right, moving beyond rent. What about the everyday stuff? Food, utilities, how do those costs add up?
Food's interesting in Hong Kong. It's a city of contrasts. Eating out can actually be surprisingly cheap, especially if you dive into the local food scene. You know, the chachan tangs, the noodle shops, street food stalls. You can get a really tasty filling meal for maybe HK $95 even in central areas. That's a huge way to save money and try amazing food.
Ah, the local gems. Love that. But what about groceries or fancier meals?
Yeah, that's where it flips. As soon as you go for high-end restaurants or start buying lots of imported Western foods in the big supermarkets, the costs jump. A grocery shop can get expensive quickly if you're only buying familiar brands from home. The smart move. Use the local wet markets for fresh produce, meat, fish. It's cheaper, fresher, and an experience in itself. And explore different neighborhoods. Grocery prices can vary quite a bit.
Mix and match them. Local markets for basics, save the imports for treats. Got it. Well, what about those hidden costs like electricity, heating, maybe household help? That's pretty common there, right?
Yeah, utilities are generally manageable, but watch out for electricity, especially in summer. For a single person in a smallish flat, basic utilities like gas, water might run you around HK $850 a month. But air conditioning is basically essential. In the summer months, it gets really hot and humid. That can easily double your electricity bills, sometimes more.
Ooh, good point about the AC.
Definitely. And yes, domestic help is very common and, compared to many Western countries, relatively affordable. You can hire full-time, live-in helpers. You pay their salary, a food allowance, maybe agency fees, or you can get part-time cleaners too. It's an option many expats use.
Okay, that covers the home base. Now, getting around town. Transport can be a massive budget item in big cities. How's Hong Kong? Do you need a car?
Oh, this is where Hong Kong really excels. Public transport is fantastic. It's incredibly efficient, clean, safe, and importantly, really cheap compared to other global cities. You've got the MTR, the subway system, which is amazing, plus loads of buses, minibuses, the famous trams.
The ding-ding.
Exactly, the ding-dings on Hong Kong Island. They're slow but charming and super cheap. And ferries, too, connecting the islands. It's a really comprehensive network.
And easy to use.
Super easy. Pretty much everyone uses the Octopus card. It's a stored value card you just tap for everything. MTR, buses, trams, ferries, even buying stuff in convenience stores. A monthly travel pass might cost you around HK $510. For unlimited travel on most systems, that's amazing value.
Wow, HK $510 a month is great. So the car question.
Yeah, honestly, forget the car. Our source, moveinstay.com, strongly advises against it for most expats. The cost is just astronomical. Buying a car that's expensive, like a basic VW Golf, could be HK $243,000 or more. Then there's parking, which is incredibly scarce and pricey. Insurance, maintenance, fuel, tunnel tolls, it all adds up massively. Plus, traffic can be bad. Public transport is usually faster and way less stressful. It's just not worth the expense or hassle for most people.
That seems like a very clear verdict. Stick to public transport. Okay, quick check on personal bits, haircuts, clothes, maybe a gym membership. How does that fit in?
Like everything else, it varies hugely. You can spend a fortune if you want designer labels and fancy salons. Hong Kong definitely has all that. But there are plenty of affordable options too. A basic haircut, maybe HK $200 to HK $500. A pair of jeans, maybe HK $400 to HK $800 for something decent but not high-end. Gym membership could be HK $500 to HK $1,000 a month, depending on the gym. The key, again, is exploring. Check out local markets, smaller independent shops, look for sales. You don't have to break the bank on personal stuff. Shop smart.
Okay, so we've laid out the costs. Housing is the big one. Daily life has its contrasts. Transport is a win. It sounds challenging financially. But here's the flip side, right? The reason many people go in the first place, let's talk earnings. What can expats actually expect to make? Does it balance out?
This is absolutely the crucial counterweight. Salaries for expats in Hong Kong tend to be very competitive, often significantly higher than you'd get for the same job back home. We're seeing average figures around US $148,410 per year for expats.
Wow, US $148,000 average.
Yeah, it's a big number. And it's not just random. It reflects the high demand for skilled professionals in Hong Kong's economy. And yes, it's partly to offset that high cost of living we've been talking about. High earnings are kind of built into the expat package for many professional roles there. It makes affordable mean something different.
That kind of salary definitely reframes the cost discussion, but does that come with intense pressure? And what about long-term careers? Is Hong Kong a place you can really build a career, or is it more about earning big for a few years and then leaving?
No, it's definitely a place for long-term growth too, although yes, the work culture can be demanding. It's fast-paced. But Hong Kong offers fantastic opportunities for career progression. Many expats actually find they can climb the ladder faster there than they could back home. It's partly the dynamic economy, its role as this major international business hub. Things move quickly.
So the environment itself pushes you forward.
In many ways, yes. It attracts ambitious people. There's a strong work ethic.
Mhm.
But it's also quite meritocratic. And certain sectors are particularly strong, offering great prospects and those high salaries. Think finance, definitely. Technology is big. Education, healthcare too.
Beyond the money and the specific jobs, what else draws professionals there? What makes it good for development?
Well, there's its location, right? It's a gateway to Asia. Amazing for business. It also has a really strong legal system. It's an open economy, generally seen as transparent. All that fosters business and opportunity. For an expat, it often means getting to work on really interesting, challenging projects, maybe with regional or global scope. You get exposed to different ways of working, different cultures. You build this incredible international network. That kind of experience is invaluable and can seriously boost your career long term, even if you eventually move on. It's more than just the paycheck.
That's a great perspective. High demands, but potentially high rewards both financially and professionally. Okay, let's pull this all together then. We know it's expensive, but salaries can be high. What are the absolute must-do strategies for making it work financially? The non-negotiables for living affordably.
Right, boiling it down. Based on what moveandstay.com suggests and what we've discussed. Number one, be smart about where you live. Don't just default to the most obvious expat areas. Explore districts like Shan Shui Po, Sai Kung, maybe parts of the new territories. Your rent could be significantly lower. That's your biggest saving, potentially.
Location flexibility is key. Got it. Number two.
Number two, embrace the public transport. Seriously, ditch any thoughts of owning a car. It's expensive, stressful, just not necessary. The MTR, buses, ferries, they're cheap, efficient, and will get you everywhere you need to go. It's a massive cost saving.
Use the octopus card like a local. Okay, and third.
Third, be savvy with daily spending, especially food. Hit the local wet markets for fresh stuff. Try the local eateries. They're often cheaper than cooking imported food at home. Look for local brands in supermarkets. Maybe buy some things in bulk. It's about making conscious choices to avoid paying premium prices all the time.
Makes sense. Live more like a local, save like a local. So after all this, we come back to that fundamental question we started with. Can expats really afford Hong Kong? Can you live well and maybe even save?
And the answer is yes. Definitely yes. It is possible to live comfortably, enjoy the city, and save money. And it's an important, but it takes planning. It takes making smart choices. It requires a willingness to adapt your lifestyle a bit. You might not have a huge apartment. You might eat more local food than imported steak. But if you make those clever choices, sensible location, public transport, smart shopping, you can absolutely leverage a competitive salary against the cost of living and have a fantastic financially viable experience there. It's about being strategic.
That feels like a really practical and encouraging conclusion. It's not impossible, just requires thought.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the realities of expat life in Hong Kong. A city of contrast, for sure. High costs, yes, but matched by high salaries and this incredible energy if you approach it strategically.
You know, it makes you think. Beyond just the dollars and cents, what actually makes for a comfortable or even a rich life as an expat there? How much of it is about really immersing yourself in the unique culture, the efficiency, the buzz of Hong Kong itself, rather than just trying to replicate the exact lifestyle you had back home with more money? Something to consider.
That's a perfect thought to end on. What does rich really mean in that context? Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope it's given you a clearer picture of Hong Kong. Until next time, keep exploring.